Look at the person sitting to your left and consider the life they lead. Now, look at the person to your right and ask if they are truly awake. In a room of 10 people, 9 of them are effectively just sleepwalking through life. These individuals represent the 90%, reacting to the world instead of choosing their path. They follow a rigid script written by biology, their parents, and modern society. Most people never realize their decisions are merely echoes of voices from their past. Are you actually making choices, or are you just reacting to your environment? Think about whose voice is actually speaking when you tell yourself what to do. A sleepwalker navigating a familiar room never questions the walls that hem them in. You are likely living a pre-recorded sequence, repeating patterns you did not create. Machiavelli observed that the majority are driven by necessity and simple, reactive emotions. To become the player, you must see the hidden strings that pull at everyone. Your biology demands survival, but it rarely asks if you are actually fulfilled. Your parents gave you their fears, calling them lessons to keep you safe. Society provides a roadmap that leads directly into the heart of the 90%. You must apply emotional alchemy to turn these base reactions into strategic gold. True leverage comes from knowing exactly which script your opponent is currently following. Mastering Sprezzatura allows you to navigate these social scripts with an air of nonchalance. Are you ready to stop reacting and start making active, calculated choices today? Before mastering strategic vulnerability, you must first realize your current script is a lie. Every instinct you trust might just be a trap set by your own biology. Most men live and die without ever making a single, truly independent choice. The 90% find comfort in the script because it absolves them of all responsibility. But you are here because you suspect there is more to this game. Ask yourself this final question: what if the script you follow isn't yours? To wake up, you must first understand the man whose name became a synonym for absolute evil. History calls him a villain, but he was actually the only one brave enough to describe reality. This philosopher, Niccolò Machiavelli, understood the hidden rules that every true player must eventually master. Why is his name still whispered today in the shadows of the highest halls of power? Is it truly evil to see the world clearly, or is it a form of ultimate liberation? Machiavelli refused to write about how the world should be, focusing instead on how it actually functions. Think of him as a doctor describing a deadly disease without any judgment or false hope. He acted as a mapmaker, drawing the dangerous territory that others were too afraid to acknowledge. While most people recoil at his name, the elite study his words to gain significant social leverage. You see, the 90% are blinded by a script that forces them to ignore the uncomfortable truth. They hide behind a mask of morality while being exploited by those who understand strategic vulnerability. Machiavelli discovered a fundamental law that most people ignore to their own eventual ruin and failure. He argued that in a world filled with people who are not good, simple goodness is insufficient. If you try to remain perfectly good in every single situation, you will surely meet your ruin. Mastering this realization requires a form of emotional alchemy, turning your fear into a sharpened strategic tool. The player moves with Sprezzatura, hiding the calculated effort behind a mask of effortless, casual confidence. What did Machiavelli know that the modern world has desperately tried to make us all forget? He saw through the lies of the collective and exposed the brutal mechanics of human social interaction. To him, power wasn't about cruelty. It was about the cold, hard reality of survival and dominance. This law is the foundation of every major victory achieved by those who operate outside the script. You can choose to stay in the light of comfortable lies or step into the shadows. Because there is a law that 90% of people ignore at their own peril every single day. Let's strip away the shield of paper you have been hiding behind for your entire life. You have been taught that justice protects you, but Machiavelli knew a far darker truth. Most of the 90% believe that being a good person is enough to ensure their safety. They walk through a world of wolves wearing a coat made of pure, white intentions. This naive belief creates a blind spot that the most ambitious predators are eager to exploit. But intentions are invisible to those who only understand the cold language of leverage. Machiavelli observed that a man wishing to make a profession of goodness must eventually come to grief. He specifically warned that this grief finds you when you are surrounded by those who are not good. Your morality is a noble choice, yet it often acts as a weight instead of a shield. You are relying on a moral code that your opponent has likely already discarded for profit. Think of justice not as a divine force, but as a clever human invention for social order. It is a set of rules we agreed upon to keep the chaos of the world at bay. While justice is a construction, power is a natural law as unyielding as gravity itself. Laws of nature do not care about your feelings or your sense of what is right. You can ignore gravity, but you cannot escape the impact when you finally hit the ground. The player understands that man-made borders mean nothing to the unstoppable surge of the ocean's tide. Relying on fairness in a power struggle is like bringing a paper shield to a sword fight. Real power is not granted by permission. It is claimed through the understanding of fundamental human drives. To survive, you must look past the social contract and see the raw mechanics of the world. Emotional alchemy allows you to transform your naive idealism into a sharp tool of strategic reality. You must learn to navigate the den of wolves without losing the essence of who you are. This is not about becoming evil, but about shedding the strategic vulnerability of the uninformed. A true master knows that being good is a luxury only afforded to those with strength. Mastering sprezzatura means hiding your strength behind a mask of effortless and calm composure. When you understand the mechanics of self-interest, the world finally becomes predictable and clear. Every selfless act you have ever witnessed was actually a cold transaction for a hit of dopamine. To control the game, you must first understand the chemical fuel that drives every human interaction. Beneath the surface of politeness, every person is fundamentally acting in their own narrow self-interest. The 90% remain blind to this reality, convinced they are moved by noble and virtuous intentions. But the player sees the world for what it truly is, a marketplace of biological rewards. Even the most altruistic sacrifice is merely a way to secure a righteous surge of dopamine. We call it kindness, but it is actually just the brain rewarding itself for social compliance. What does the righteous man really gain when he gives his last dollar to a stranger? He buys the feeling of moral superiority, a currency far more valuable than paper money. You must accept that human nature is fundamentally fickle, consistently greedy, and constantly driven by fear. Machiavelli understood that these base instincts are the only reliable levers for navigating a world of chaos. When you strip away the myth of justice, you find a biological loop of action and reward. This realization allows the strategic thinker to predict the behavior of others with chilling mathematical accuracy. Once you identify a person's specific dopamine trigger, you hold the ultimate leverage over their future choices. Mastering this perspective is the first step in practicing emotional alchemy to transmute social dynamics. People do not fail you because they are evil. They fail you because self-interest dictated it. Can you see the invisible strings of dopamine pulling the crowd in every single direction? Navigate these interactions with sprezzatura, making your calculated moves appear effortless and entirely natural. Use strategic vulnerability to mirror their needs and trigger the very chemical hits they crave. Stop being surprised by the inevitable betrayals and start predicting them through the lens of biology. Once you accept this mechanical reality, you finally stop reacting and begin truly playing the game. The most powerful person in any room isn't the one talking, but the one who won't say a word. Now that you know how they think, let's look at how to make them talk. While the 90% scramble to fill every gap with noise, the player understands the weight of the unspoken. In the eyes of Machiavelli, every word you speak is a potential leak of your internal strategy. Why does silence make people so uncomfortable that they feel a desperate urge to fill the void? Statistics show that 90% of people cannot handle more than a few seconds of pure silence. This discomfort creates a psychological vacuum that practically forces the other person to offer up more information. When you stop responding, you are not just waiting. You are applying a quiet, invisible pressure. Watch as they struggle to bridge the gap, eventually revealing truths they never intended to share. Their insecurities begin to surface as they try to justify their previous statements to your cold stillness. This is emotional alchemy, turning a moment of social tension into a gold mine of actionable leverage. By employing strategic vulnerability, you become the mirror reflecting their growing social desperation and hidden flaws. Consider the last time you felt the need to explain yourself after a long, pointed pause. Are you leaking power every time you rush to defend your choices or clarify your simple intentions? To defend oneself against an insult is to validate the attack and the attacker's perceived authority. Every defensive reaction is a confession that the other person's words have enough weight to hurt you. By reacting, you grant them the status of a judge, while you accept the role of the accused. A true master practices sprezzatura, maintaining an air of effortless indifference even when directly challenged or provoked. Imagine the impact if you just stopped responding and let their insult hang awkwardly in the air. The vacuum you create forces them to backpedal, often weakening their own position in a frantic retreat. Silence doesn't just protect your own information. It highlights the chaotic lack of control in your opponent. Information is the ultimate power, and silence is the most efficient way to extract it without effort. But the vacuum of silence is only effective if you can hide what's inside it. Imagine you are in a high-stakes interview, the air thick with unspoken expectations and hidden agendas. Most people rush to fill every gap with chatter, desperate to prove their worth to the room. But the player knows that true leverage is found in the gaps between the spoken words. Statistics show that the 90% of people feel a crushing weight when a conversation falls silent. They interpret a lack of sound as a personal failure, a crack in their carefully constructed armor. When your opponent stops speaking, do not rush in to rescue them from their growing social anxiety. Instead, practice the art of the 3-second pause, a simple trick that yields massive psychological dividends. This deliberate silence creates a vacuum that pulls secrets from the depths of their uneasy mind. Watch as they scramble to fill the void, often revealing the very insecurities they intended to hide. This is emotional alchemy, turning leaden moments of awkwardness into pure, actionable intelligence for your benefit. In these moments, you realize why the quietest person in the room is often the most powerful. You are gathering information while they are leaking it, shifting the balance of power in real time. Imagine a recruiter mentioning a salary range that feels lower than your actual market value expectations. Instead of arguing or justifying, simply look them in the eye and let the silence hang heavy. Count to 3 slowly in your head, maintaining a gaze of calm and effortless sprezzatura. The recruiter will likely keep talking, offering more concessions just to end the unbearable social tension. They might reveal their absolute bottom line or mention a signing bonus they weren't supposed to share. By doing nothing, you force them into a state of strategic vulnerability that works entirely in your favor. Machiavelli understood that controlling the tempo of an interaction is the first step toward total dominance. While the 90% are drowning in their own words, you are navigating the deep waters safely. Silence is not just a lack of sound. It is a weaponized tool for extracting hidden truth. Practice this today with a friend or a stranger, and witness the power of the unspoken. Master the vacuum, and you will find that the world eventually speaks its secrets to you. The fog isn't there to confuse you. It's there to protect your most ambitious moves from observation. Your plans are most vulnerable the moment you speak them out loud to an unsuspecting world. Why do you feel that urgent need to tell everyone exactly what you are doing? Is the cheap dopamine hit of the announcement really worth the high risk of total sabotage? Sharing a grand plan provides a false sense of achievement before the actual work even begins. This premature reward chemically reduces the drive you need to complete the grueling task ahead. The 90% live for these moments, trading their future success for immediate social validation. While you talk about your dreams, you inadvertently invite others to build obstacles in your path. Telling others a plan can create hidden enemies who seek to undermine your progress quietly. Every secret shared is a piece of leverage you hand over to your potential competitors for free. To navigate this landscape, the player must master the ancient art of hiding their true intent. Consider the advice of Machiavelli, who understood that visibility is often a fatal strategic error. He advised the prince to become a great pretender, masking his nature behind a carefully crafted mask. If you reveal who you truly are, you provide a clear target for those seeking power. Strategic vulnerability is not about being weak, but about choosing which flaws to show the world. Use emotional alchemy to turn your private fears into a public persona of unshakable confidence. A great pretender moves through the crowd like a fog that hides an entire invasion fleet. They practice sprezzatura, making their most calculated maneuvers appear entirely effortless and accidental. Who are you really when the cameras are off and no one is watching your moves? By remaining untargetable, you ensure that your progress is only revealed once it is already complete. Think of your silence as a protective barrier, keeping the poison of outside opinion far away. When you finally emerge, your success will seem like an act of God rather than human effort. The world cannot fight an enemy it does not know exists until the battle is over. Your true nature should be a vault, accessible only to those who have earned your trust. Master this deception, and you will find yourself moving through the world with newfound clinical precision. Sometimes the best way to hide a sharp blade is behind a gentle, harmless smile. Think about the last time you shouted your biggest ambitions from the rooftops to everyone you knew. You felt a surge of pride as your friends nodded with impressed and validating smiles. This is the classic trap where the 90% lose their momentum before they even truly begin. Machiavelli knew that a plan revealed is a plan already halfway to its certain, quiet death. By announcing your intentions, you are engaging in a dangerous form of accidental and strategic vulnerability. You believe sharing builds accountability, but your brain is playing a much darker chemical trick today. Telling others a plan can create invisible obstacles and invite subtle, unwanted forms of external sabotage. Every person you tell becomes a potential anchor dragging down your ship before it leaves port. Sharing a plan provides a dopamine hit that can drastically reduce your drive to finish work. Your mind registers the social praise as if the hard work has already been successfully completed. This premature reward is a toxic ghost that haunts your ambition and kills your inner fire. The player understands that real progress always happens in the dark, away from the public eye. True power is found in emotional alchemy, turning your silent hunger into undeniable and finished results. Consider the common New Year resolution that vanishes as soon as the first week finally ends. People crave the status of the goal without ever wanting to endure the long, grueling process. When you talk, you trade your future leverage for a fleeting moment of cheap social validation. Instead of working, you are performing a character who is merely pretending to be successful. Mastering sprezzatura means making difficult achievements look effortless because nobody ever saw the intense struggle. If you keep your mouth shut, the tension of the unsaid goal drives you forward relentlessly. Silence acts as a pressurized chamber where your ambition grows stronger and more concentrated every day. The world does not need to know your moves until the checkmate is finally delivered. Stop feeding your ego with the hollow praise of people who do not truly care. Every word wasted on a promise is a step further away from the actual physical achievement. Protect your vision like a state secret, because to the world, your success is a threat. True mastery requires the discipline to let your results scream while you remain perfectly silent. To truly dominate the room, you must first learn how to look like you are losing. If you want to disarm a hungry hunter, you must look like prey for a moment. While the 90% hide their flaws with pride, the player uses them as a sharp weapon. This secret technique is called strategic vulnerability, a masterful way to manipulate how others see you. By revealing a carefully chosen weakness, you invite others to lower their natural mental defenses. Think of this calculated openness as a Trojan horse designed to infiltrate your opponent's inner circle. You are not showing your true scars, but rather specific flaws that make you appear harmless. Machiavelli understood that appearing relatable is often more powerful than appearing perfectly flawless to the world. One of the most effective ways to use this is by simply asking for someone's advice. Asking for help creates an instant bond, making the other person feel uniquely wise and respected. When they begin to lecture you, their ego swells and their critical judgment starts to fade. They believe they are the master of the exchange, never suspecting you are actually in control. Through this emotional alchemy, you turn a perceived weakness into a source of immense social leverage. True mastery involves practicing sprezzatura, making this complex psychological game look entirely natural and effortless. You are essentially lowering a drawbridge, inviting the invading army into a trap of their making. Most people are so desperate to feel superior that they will ignore every red flag you show. They see an apprentice to teach, while you see a subject to be carefully observed. Can you swallow your ego for a few minutes if it means winning the entire war? Every word they speak in their arrogance provides you with more information and better strategic leverage. This is the art of being the silent shadow while they dance in the bright spotlight. Your strategic vulnerability acts as a smokescreen, hiding your true ambitions from their wandering eyes. It is significantly easier to move through the world when people believe you are no threat. The greatest power often belongs to the person who is willing to be completely underestimated. Let them bask in the warmth of their own ego while you calculate your next move. By making them feel like the auditor, you have successfully turned them into your own subject. While others seek comfort, the architect of reality seeks resistance to sharpen his own edge. Most people run from their enemies, but you should be looking for them with predatory focus. What if your enemies are actually your best teachers, showing you exactly where you are weak? Think of every critic as a private auditor who identifies the holes in your psychological armor. They exploit your vulnerabilities for free, providing the leverage you need to fix every hidden flaw. This is the essence of emotional alchemy, turning the lead of hatred into the gold of power. Machiavelli knew that a prince is often made more formidable by the obstacles he finally overcomes. Nassim Taleb calls this antifragility, where systems actually grow much stronger under intense pressure. Unlike the fragile who shatter, the player uses chaos and stress to build an unbreakable foundation. Every insult is a diagnostic report, telling you precisely where your sprezzatura is failing to hold. When the 90% receive criticism, they retreat into defensive silence or hollow, angry excuses. But for you, a slight isn't an injury. It is a high-octane fuel source for your ambition. Can you truly learn to turn a public slight into a private engine of relentless motion? Consider the greatest winners in history and how they curated their own lists of strategic doubters. Michael Jordan famously kept a mental catalog of every person who ever questioned his ultimate greatness. During his Hall of Fame speech, he didn't just thank friends. He addressed the doubters directly. He used their disbelief as a psychological whip, driving himself towards 6 world championship rings. By acknowledging his enemies, Jordan proved that their pressure was the very thing that forged him. You must maintain a similar list, documenting every person who bets against your inevitable success. Use strategic vulnerability to let them think they hurt you, while you secretly harvest their energy. Every time they try to pull you down, they are actually providing the resistance you need. This is not about revenge. It is about the cold, calculated utilization of social friction. The 90% want to be liked, but the player wants to be tested by constant fire. If you have no enemies, it means you aren't moving fast enough to create any displacement. Seek the friction, embrace the auditor, and become the master of your own anti-fragility. Because true power isn't a simple sprint. It is the compound interest of overcoming constant resistance. To build an empire, you must first be willing to wait for the second metaphorical marshmallow. The difference between a king and a commoner is often just a matter of 15 critical minutes. While the 90% chase immediate dopamine, the player understands that real power is built like compound interest. Imagine standing before a single sweet temptation, knowing that waiting unlocks a far greater future reward. This is the heart of the famous Marshmallow test, where children faced a simple, agonizing choice. They could eat one treat immediately, or wait 15 minutes to receive a second, larger reward. Most children collapsed under the pressure, unable to resist the pull of immediate, fleeting satisfaction. Yet, those few who waited demonstrated a rare psychological mastery that predicts a lifetime of massive success. Years later, these patient children proved to be more successful and significantly less prone to chronic stress. Machiavelli knew that the ability to delay gratification is the ultimate predictor of high-level social dominance. This is emotional alchemy, turning the lead of restless desire into the gold of long-term leverage. Most people are slaves to their impulses, reacting to the world instead of shaping it with patience. They lack the vision to see 10 years ahead, while everyone else is only looking at tonight. Real power requires an extended time horizon that spans decades rather than mere days or weeks. True influence is not a frantic sprint. It is the slow, steady accumulation of compound interest. By resisting the urge for public praise, you practice a form of strategic vulnerability that builds strength. You move with sprezzatura, making the hardest discipline look like an effortless walk through your own kingdom. Every time you choose the long game, you distinguish yourself from the masses who crave instant results. Can you truly see the distant horizon while others are blinded by the glare of immediate rewards? Are you currently a slave to your impulses, or are you the architect of your own destiny? The world belongs to those who can master the silence of waiting without losing their inner fire. To lead those who cannot wait, you must first master the art of standing perfectly still. This patience becomes your greatest weapon, allowing you to outlast every rival who burns out early. Compound interest in power is a secret sauce that only the most disciplined minds ever taste. And if you can wait for your moment, you can lead those who simply cannot. Think back to a simple experiment involving a single marshmallow and a child's raw willpower. In this famous study, researchers offered a choice: one treat now or two if they waited. For 15 excruciating minutes, the child sat alone, battling the urge to indulge immediately. This was not just about sweets. It was a fundamental measurement of their future potential. While the 90% reach for instant rewards, the true player understands the value of waiting. Decades later, the data revealed a shocking correlation between that childhood wait and adulthood. Those who successfully delayed their gratification were found to be far more successful later. they were not just wealthier. They were also significantly less prone to the poisons of stress. Machiavelli would recognize this discipline as the cornerstone of building any lasting, powerful empire. The ability to resist that immediate hit of dopamine is the ultimate predictor of success. Think of this restraint as a muscle that separates the masters from the mere spectators. Through emotional alchemy, you transform the pain of waiting into the leverage of absolute power. Every time you resist an impulse, you are strengthening your grip on your own destiny. While others are consumed by short-term hungers, you are practicing a cold, calculated sprezzatura. This test proves that those who can master themselves can eventually master everyone else. Strategic vulnerability begins with acknowledging that your own desires are often your greatest weakness. The player views every moment of delay as an investment in a much larger future. Success is not a sprint. It is the calculated endurance of a mind that sees ahead. Stress becomes a choice when you possess the internal strength to wait for the second reward. This is the fundamental divide between those who follow and the few who truly lead. By resisting the first treat, you cultivate the mental fortitude required for high-stakes games. Your capacity for patience is the invisible leverage that forces the world to bend. It is a quiet form of power that most people never even realize they lack. To win the long game, you must first survive the 15 minutes of absolute silence. Mastery is not about taking what you want. It is about knowing when to wait. Machiavelli's most famous warning is also his most misunderstood lesson for the modern high-stakes world. Would you rather be loved and forgotten, or feared and obeyed by those who surround you? Most people in the 90% spend their entire lives desperately trying to be liked by everyone. They mistake a polite smile for genuine influence, while the player knows the brutal, hidden truth. Machiavelli argued it is better to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. Love is a fickle emotion that often disappears the moment the sun stops shining on them. Fear, however, is a permanent anchor that keeps people tied to their obligations and their promises. Is your current kindness a genuine choice, or just a mask for your inherent secret weakness? True kindness only exists when you have the power to be cruel but choose otherwise. This transition from weakness to controlled strength is what we call successful emotional alchemy. Without leverage, your attempts at being liked are merely pleas for social survival and basic safety. The player understands that a lion does not need to roar to maintain total group respect. Consider a storm that provides life-giving rain but still demands absolute caution from every traveler. You must learn to project an aura of quiet authority through the ancient art of sprezzatura. Strategic vulnerability allows you to show just enough humanity to keep the fear from burning. If you are only liked, you are replaceable. But if you are respected, you become essential. People will betray someone they love, but they rarely cross someone they truly fear and respect. This is not about being a tyrant. It is about building an empire on solid ground. You are shifting your social identity from a desperate pleaser to a respected architect of reality. True abundance means you no longer need the validation that the 90% crave so very deeply. By choosing respect over affection, you secure your position in the hidden hierarchy of the elite. Is it truly possible to be both feared and loved in this modern digital landscape? If you must choose one path, the safer bet is always the one that commands obedience. Your presence should be a weight that others feel the moment you enter any crowded room. But how do you handle the fire of that fear without getting burned yourself? To move through the world this way requires a dual nature that few ever truly master. The master makes the impossible look like a complete accident, while the world watches in total awe. This is the art of sprezzatura, a term coined by the legendary Italian courtier Baldassare Castiglione. It describes a certain effortless grace that hides the immense labor behind every calculated move you make. While the 90% sweat and struggle openly, the player acts as if success is simply his nature. Why does trying too hard always look so weak to those who actually hold the real power? When you reveal your struggle, you surrender your leverage and show the world your internal gears grinding. Sprezzatura is about masking your effort to maintain a mysterious aura of absolute and total competence. Think of a dancer who never breaks a sweat despite performing a routine of grueling physical complexity. Machiavelli understood that this mask of grace must be backed by a more primal, shifting strategy. He taught that a true leader must learn to inhabit the distinct spirits of two different beasts. Can you be the ferocious lion and the cunning fox at the exact same moment in time? The lion represents aggressive force, the raw power that crashes through obstacles and demands immediate submission. But force alone is a trap that often leads to your own destruction by more clever enemies. That is why Machiavelli insisted that you must also master the subtle ways of the clever fox. The fox is the cunning diplomat, navigating social labyrinths with a quiet and almost invisible precision. Using strategic vulnerability, the fox lures others into traps they never even saw being carefully set. This shift between force and diplomacy is a form of high-level emotional alchemy for the modern world. You must know when to roar with authority and when to whisper with persuasive, gentle intent. Hiding the effort behind the result is what separates a common striver from a true master artist. If they see the strings, the magic of your influence vanishes into the cold light of day. To dominate the room, you must project a spirit of ease that masks your inner, predatory focus. Most people fail because they are too rigid, stuck in one mode while the world changes around them. The player remains fluid, transitioning from the lion's strike to the fox's smile in a heartbeat. This duality ensures that no one can ever truly predict your next move or see your hand. Because once you master the mask, you can begin the real work of deep, transformative emotional alchemy. This is the ultimate secret of the sovereign mind, the profound and transformative alchemy of the self. Your burning anger is not a problem to solve. It is a raw, untapped fuel source. Most people in the 90% let their feelings consume them, but the player sees things differently. Instead of reacting to the world, you will learn to capture and redirect every internal storm. Consider the fundamental law of the universe. Energy cannot be created or ever truly destroyed. It can only be transferred between states, shifting its form but never losing its inherent potency. Machiavelli understood that power is never lost. It simply flows from the weak to the disciplined. When you feel a surge of intense emotion, you are witnessing a massive release of energy. Emotional alchemy is the precise art of turning leaden resentment into the gold of pure ambition. Every heartbeat of frustration contains the latent power required to build a lasting and formidable empire. Do not vent your rage into the void. Channel it directly into your most demanding work. The player uses strategic vulnerability to lure others while keeping their own internal fires strictly controlled. The 90% are like steam engines without valves, wasting their pressure in loud and useless outbursts. You must become the lightning rod that captures the storm and stores its power for later. While others are blinded by their feelings, you use yours to sharpen your own competitive edge. Sprezzatura allows you to perform this intense internal redirection while maintaining an aura of perfect calm. If you feel the sting of rejection, use that cold energy to fuel a productive session. When fear grips your chest, transform that frantic pulse into the focus needed for high-stakes leverage. Emotions are simply raw data points in kinetic potential waiting for a productive and powerful direction. Where will you direct this energy when the rest of the world is busy complaining? Think of your heart as a furnace where raw feeling is forged into cold, hard results. Can you feel the energy rising in your chest right at this very moment? Stop seeking the cheap relief of a reaction and start the expensive work of creation. Every great masterpiece and every dominant business was built on the back of redirected emotion. You are no longer a piece moved by the board. You are the hand that moves. Mastering this internal flow is the final step in achieving true and unshakable self-mastery. The mask is now complete, and the engine inside is finally running on high-octane fuel. You have moved beyond the sleepwalkers and entered the realm of the true architects. Step back from the table now, and look closely at the strings that once moved you. The view from above the herd is different when you see the patterns of the game. You have witnessed the truth that in a room of 10 people, 9 are simply sleepwalking. These sleepwalkers react to the world around them, rather than choosing their own unique path forward. You are no longer one of them, trapped in the cycle of mindless reaction and hidden control. Instead, you have become the player, the one who understands that power is a natural law. Like Machiavelli once taught, you must master the cold reality of human nature to remain sovereign. Can you see the strings now, vibrating with the secret intentions of everyone around the board? Through emotional alchemy, you have learned to turn your deepest pressures into pure, unyielding strategic gold. You have mastered strategic vulnerability, wearing a mask of weakness to hide your true rising strength. Think of the leverage you now hold by simply remaining the quietest person in the room. Information is power, and your silence has become the most effective tool in your entire arsenal. Do you still want to be a piece, or do you prefer the role of the puppeteer? You move with sprezzatura now, displaying an effortless grace that masks the deep complexity of your moves. The 90% will never understand how you stay so untouchable amidst the chaos of their lives. You have stepped beyond the reach of their petty games and entered the realm of the architects. How does it feel to be untouchable, watching the world spin from your new, elevated vantage point? This clarity is the reward for those who dare to wake up and claim their own reality. Every move you make now is calculated, purposeful, and directed toward a horizon they cannot see. You are the master of the board, the one who finally knows how the game is played. But remember that there are even higher levels to this architecture waiting for you to discover. If you're ready to stop watching and start building, the path forward begins right now. The window for this knowledge is closing as the algorithm works to bury these powerful truths. The YouTube algorithm suppresses information perceived as too powerful or related to the study of dark psychology. While the 90% remain asleep, you have glimpsed the hidden strings that pull on every human heart. Machiavelli taught us that true power is never given, but taken through calculated and silent observation. You have begun to master emotional alchemy, turning your inner pressure into a sharp strategic edge. To succeed, you must embrace sprezzatura, making your most complex social maneuvers appear entirely effortless. We have revealed how strategic vulnerability can disarm rivals while you prepare your next winning move. But the surface level of this study is no longer enough for an aspiring master player. Shadows are lengthening across the digital landscape, and the most dangerous secrets are being deleted daily. Will you remain part of the herd or join the elite who understand the true architecture? Consider this a hidden door in a digital wall, leading to the deeper mechanics of human control. These insights provide the original blueprint for the social building you have lived in forever. To become the ultimate player, you must learn the lessons the public is forbidden to see. Join our private circle to master the psychological tactics that define the modern ruling class. Within these restricted archives, you will find the leverage needed to dominate any high-stakes environment. Every second you hesitate is another moment the algorithm uses to hide the truth away. What will you do with this power once the final veil is lifted from your eyes? Are you truly prepared to become the architect of your own reality and command your future? Secure your access now before the gates close and the opportunity for sovereignty vanishes forever. I am waiting for the few who are brave enough to step into the light. I will see you on the other side, where the real game finally begins.